The bus wheezed to a stop, expelling hot air and dust as Evelyn Carter stepped down onto the cracked pavement of Fairview Avenue, East Atlanta. A navy duffel bag hung over her shoulder, soft with age, its zipper rusted from years of use. She paused for a moment, the muffled hum of the engine fading behind her, and took in the air-fried chicken grease wafting from a corner food truck, mingling with the earthy sweetness of freshly cut grass. She hadn't realized how much she missed that scent until it hit her like a forgotten lullaby. All around her, houses sagged with time and memory. Porches slouched, paint flaked, and chain-link fences leaned like tired elders. She stood on the street where she learned to ride a bike, where Miss Lorraine's collard greens simmered on Sundays, where her grandmother, Mama Thelma, once sat in a rocking chair waving at every neighbor as though they were blood. Now, it all looked smaller. And yet, this street, this neighborhood still pulsed with the echoes of her childhood. Evelyn wore faded jeans and a white tee tucked neatly into her waistband, a look that didn't draw attention but couldn't hide the way she carried herself. Back straight, shoulders squared, a certain stillness in her body that revealed years of military discipline. She hadn't been back since retiring from the Air Force after 2 decades of service, most of them spent in war zones with names the news had long stopped mentioning. Her last deployment was Kabul. Her hardest was home. She crossed the street toward the small, weather-worn bungalow her grandmother left behind. Her boots crunched softly against gravel as she reached into her pocket for the keys. She wasn't here to reminisce. She had a plan to renovate the house, turn it into a youth center for local kids. A space that didn't judge them for where they came from. A space for healing. For potential. She hadn't even made it to the top step before the shrill grind of tires made her glance over her shoulder. A police cruiser rolled down the street, slow and deliberate, hugging the curb like it was tracking something. Evelyn turned back to the door, inserted the key, and twisted. Metal clinked, the knob turned. And then came the voice, sharp and taut. "Hey, you live here?" Evelyn turned slowly, resting her hand against the doorframe. A white police officer stood on the sidewalk, his sunglasses reflecting the light. His nameplate read D. Mercer. He had one hand resting casually near his duty belt, but nothing about his posture was casual. "I do," she said calmly. "You got proof." Evelyn studied him. The slight puff in his chest. The stiff chin. The smug authority radiating from his stance. A man who thought the uniform gave him the right to question anyone, especially someone who looked like her. She pulled the keys from her pocket, held them up. They jingled in the air between them. "Keys don't prove squat," Mercer said, stepping forward. "I need ID." Evelyn didn't flinch. Kandahar taught her patience. Baghdad taught her calculation. She knew the dance of intimidation well, and she knew how to hold ground. "I don't owe you anything," she said, her voice low, controlled. Her gaze flicked across the street. Neighbors were beginning to notice. Curtains parted. A teen with a phone hovered near the corner. Mercer's expression tightened. He didn't like that she wasn't scared, that she hadn't jumped to appease him. "ID," he repeated louder now. Evelyn reached into her back pocket slowly, deliberately. She retrieved a black leather wallet and flipped it open, revealing her military ID. "Air Force," he said, squinting. "That's supposed to impress me?" She didn't answer. He held the ID longer than necessary, searching her face as if waiting for her to flinch. Then he handed it back, sneering. "You got any proof you live here?" "The house is in my name. Check the deed." Across the street, a boy raised his phone and began recording. More followed. Evelyn stood still. She saw the way Mercer shifted, anxious now, caught in a spotlight he didn't expect. "You causing problems?" Mercer said loudly, drawing more eyes. "No, officer," she replied. "Are you?" His lips curled, and for a moment Evelyn saw a flicker of a man unraveling. He turned and stomped back to his cruiser. Radio static buzzed. Evelyn remained still, one hand lightly gripping the doorframe. Inside her chest, her heart beat slow and even. She wasn't backing down. Not today. Not on this porch. Mercer slammed the cruiser door hard, drawing gasps. He returned, his face redder, his walk more aggressive. "Step away from the door," he barked. "Hands where I can see them." Phones lifted. The block grew silent except for the heavy summer air. Evelyn's arms remained by her sides. "I've committed no crime," she said. "You're obstructing an investigation." "What investigation?" His hand hovered near his baton now. She could see his pride unraveling. His breath coming faster. You want to go to jail? For being black on my porch. Someone in the crowd laughed, short and bitter. The teenager kept filming. Mercer lunged. He grabbed her wrist roughly, but Evelyn had already moved. A quick pivot, the kind that years of training had drilled into her bones, and he stumbled forward. She stepped aside as if he were air, watching as his momentum carried him toward the porch railing. Gasps. A laugh. Phone's recording. Mercer whirled, livid. You're resisting arrest. For what charge? Turn around, he shouted. Evelyn didn't move. You should walk away. He didn't. His hand went to his cuffs. He lunged again. This time, she didn't evade. She moved forward, redirecting his weight with barely more than a shift of her shoulders. He hit the cruiser door hard, scrambling to find footing. More laughter now. The crowd knew what it had seen. Backup was called. You're done, man, someone shouted. Sirens approached. Mercer stared at her like she'd just rewritten the world. She hadn't laid a hand on him in aggression. She hadn't shouted. She hadn't cursed. But she'd defeated him. And worse, done it calmly. The second patrol car arrived with a screech. Out stepped Captain Jordan Weller, a tall, dark-skinned man whose uniform bore 2 decades of earned respect. His gaze swept the street. He read the crowd, the phones, the stance of Evelyn Carter, and the flushed, crumbling posture of Officer Mercer. What's happening here? Weller asked, voice steady. Mercer tried to explain. Something about non-compliance, aggression, resisting. The words came fast and tangled. Evelyn said nothing. Weller turned to her. Ma'am. She answered clearly. I came home. I was unlocking my door when he approached. I showed ID. He ignored it. The captain turned back to Mercer, his jaw tight. Badge. Gun. Now. Mercer looked like he might argue, but he didn't. He handed them over, silent, shamed. Captain Weller turned back to Evelyn. Do you want to press charges? She looked at the faces watching her. The elders. The teens. The mothers. She let the weight of the moment fill her. No, she said softly. I'm not here to tear anyone down. I came to rebuild. A hush fell over the block. Captain Weller nodded. Understood. And ma'am, thank you. Welcome home. The crowd began to disperse. Some waved. Some nodded with pride. Evelyn returned to the porch, her fingers brushing the splintered rail. The house needed work. But that's what she came for. Not just to fix a building, but to build something no badge could take. As the sun dipped low over the city, casting golden shadows across her grandmother's porch, Evelyn Carter stood tall. She had come back to heal. And without raising her voice, without raising her fists, she reminded a neighborhood and a nation what strength truly looked like.